So my number one tip for dating in Korea as a foreigner would be I'm joking. I'm sorry. I couldn't. That just never gets old. Okay, for real. Hey guys, it's CC Lesson 3. Welcome back to my channel. So it's been quite a while since I made a video where I just sit down and talk directly to you guys, and I'm just in a room by myself, and I kind of missed that. I figured today would be more of a fun, like, old school style tips for being in Korea as a foreigner styled video, if that makes any sense. So I thought this video I could do like tips for dating in Korea as a foreigner. Now obviously I am by no means an expert, because if you guys know my channel, you've heard the horror stories I've been through. I mean, the fact that I'm single should say a lot. But if you think you can find some of these tips helpful, then I really hope they help you, because some of these go without saying. Some of these I think maybe you should try to take a little more seriously before you come here. So here we go. My number one tip for dating in Korea as a foreigner would be I'm joking. I'm sorry. I couldn't. That just never gets old. Okay, for real. My number one tip for dating in Korea would be to learn the language, because it really goes without saying that obviously if you're in a place where you speak the language, you can cast a wider net. You don't have to rely on chance encounters with the people who speak your language. A lot of Korean people do speak English, and maybe more than you expect, but you don't want to hope you run into someone who happens to speak your language here. You can just casually meet someone in a more formal place at work, maybe, well, I don't encourage work romances, but at a cafe, at a festival, at some sort of a museum, a restaurant. You never know. If you can speak the language, it just makes it easier. Like, of all the friends and people and foreigners I've met here, the ones who end up in more serious relationships, like study Korean in high school, or they majored in Korean studies, or they actually took it seriously and learned the language. Also, their Korean partner, their family is more likely to welcome them and embrace them because they take this seriously, you know? So you have those you know, the people who kind of just like, my looks will make them flock. They don't feel like they have to put out any effort. And they're the ones who are single or end up ghosted or dumped or just heartbroken in some sort of way. Okay, number two, the next tip I would like to offer for dating in Korea as a foreigner would be to go to meetups, where they have like speed dating events. They have meetups, like language exchange meetups. I know language exchange is probably becoming more of a double entendre type of thing, where nobody is really actually trying to exchange languages. They just want to be like, well, I don't want to just be your friend, but I don't know where this will go, so let's just say language exchange for now. There are all sorts of Facebook groups where they're like perfect mixer events for foreigners and Korean people. I've gone to, I think, like 2 of their party events, and I've only gone to 1 of their meetups. The parties were more fun because it's a really good mix of Korean people who speak English, foreigners who speak Korean, and you can learn stuff, you can make friends, and you can possibly date. My next tip for dating in Korea, if you want to find someone seriously, don't use Tinder. Just don't. I don't use Tinder in Korea. I used it in the States because I've met friends, like genuine friends from Tinder. Like, it's not just a hookup thing in the States. In Korea, that's all they see it as. I did meet my ex there, and that was like the one good experience I've had on Tinder. I know a girl who met her now husband and baby's father on Tinder, but there are very few success stories, and I think the majority of stories are just bad. You'll see people's profile names literally just say FWB, or ONS for one night stand, or their description would literally just say like big dick, one night stand, only hookup.
Jesus Christ.
If you are into a casual hookup type of thing, that's your place. You will make out like a bandit. Do you, boo-boo? But if you want to find someone like seriously, if you want to like spend some like your life with, do not use Tinder. I'm here now, but I'm not dating. And even when I put that, like, I use like OkCupid and Hello Talk because I just want to meet people. Like, I'm still trying to, since I'm about to be a flight attendant, I do want to try and meet people like all over, like wherever I'm at, you know, just to branch out. So I personally, I still like social media sites for meeting people, but I'm not trying to date from like Tinder. Hell no. So number 4, I would say to keep an open mind and adapt to the culture and the social differences from your own country. It's really easy to be like turned off by one thing you don't understand. Like, for example, here they text nonstop, and like if you don't reply to them, then they kind of move on. Whereas in the States, more so, you might like try to play hard to get and maybe not reply for like 5 hours. Whereas here, if you tried that, they would probably just move on. So it might make you feel like thirsty or needy or desperate if you reply just as quickly as they do, but you kind of got to adapt to the culture and social differences here, or you'll just get left and be like, well, what happened? I think for personally, there are many similarities between dating here and dating in the US, but there are also a lot of differences. So it would make your life a lot easier if you kind of open your mind to differences. Like, it's just, if there's something you're used to in your country and they don't do that here and you don't like it, then you just next them, then that could be a potential loss for something that could have been great. That's kind of another one that I think goes without saying, but sometimes it needs to be said. Number 5, I would say if you want to date someone seriously, you should be here like long term. A lot of Korean people have said that they're hesitant to get in relationships with foreigners because if they're only studying here for like 6 months, or if they're teaching for a year, then there's no point in trying to start anything serious. And maybe that's all they see you as being good for, just something fun, something to do literally to do while you're here. There are a lot of times where you meet someone and they ask, how long are you going to be here for? Or how long will you stay? When do you go back to your home country? And if you say, oh, just 2 weeks, or, oh yeah, I'll be back in 3 months, they're like, oh, then what's the point? Dating here is something that you want to do more seriously, then that's probably something you're going to have to do, because long distance is not something many people like. For example, I hate it. I don't know if they'd be willing to go back to your home country, but it would just be a lot easier if you want to date here and live here like forever. Number 2, I would say don't expect to fall in love at the club. So many, it's cute to like go off and like maybe make out with somebody or like talk to them and like exchange cacaos, but then don't be so butthurt and don't feel defeated and like so quick to give up when they don't talk back to you again, if either they got what they wanted in a more intimate way or if they didn't get what they wanted in a more intimate way. It really doesn't take much for people to just lose interest. Don't fall in love at the club. Like, don't expect that to happen either. A lot of the guys who go clubbing are very handsome, very like polished, and they're probably the worst boys. Like, stay away from boys. Boys do not represent Korea. There's so many that are, normal smart guys who go to school and love their family and respect women, and then you kind of see these repeating cycles in the videos I've put out even. But those were guys I met on Tinder, so that's my fault. I didn't know that. I kind of thought if it worked in the States, it'll probably work here. But you live and you learn. So I'm telling you guys, don't expect to fall in love on Tinder. Don't expect to fall in love with guys at the club. So before I get to number 1, I want to mention this video is sponsored by PixArt. So PixArt is an app that lets you edit pictures, and more recently I found out it lets you edit video. Now, a lot of you probably know what PixArt is because I've literally been using it since high school. I was a senior when I first found out what it was. And it's basically what I like to use to add like cool effects to the sky, mainly in particular. Yesterday, me and my friend went to Namsan Tower. So I'm gonna show you guys some things you can do to make the picture look cooler. Now, one of the things I like to do with stuff like this, for example, you can add a cool filter, but then use the eraser to like erase you and more of the landscape just to keep the sky looking artistic and photoshopped. I mean, this is like literally the OG of apps that I've been using. I'm by no means an expert or anything, but these are pretty fun to just make the picture look more unique and stand out on Instagram. This is when I lived in Jeju, and we went to this really cool temple, and it was like at sunset. So my friend took a really nice shot of me, but I liked the sky, but I wanted to make it look more like starry nightish. So like I did my little swaggy Dean pose, and then I erased the bottom half and then kept the sky. Honestly, I was really surprised when I started to like scroll into other like similar fields, and there's like a lot of people who do like K-pop based edits. So I was like, oh, okay, there's like a whole little community here. I see Lisa, I see Crystal, V, Suga, Jungkook. So yeah, you're in familiar company on this app. So yeah, PixArt is a really fun app to use when you want to edit photos. You don't need a high level of expertise, which I clearly don't have. You can edit photos, like landscapey photos, selfies, just to add cool artistic style to your own Instagram, editing your thumbnails, whatever thing you need to edit it for. There's all sorts of other communities and pages where people make their own art and then they share with each other. You can use tags to find other similar posts. You can just explore this community. So it's really cool. So I recommend PixArt because I've been using it for like 8 years now. Okay, back to the video. This is the #1 biggest tip that, based on what I've seen in the comments and based on what I get DM'd questions about on Instagram, I think people may need to come to terms with. So my #1 tip is to be realistic. Just because you see these people in Korean dramas, you watch them in K-pop videos, does not mean that they're walking around, and it does not mean that people looking like them are walking around. You may expect to see Jungkook, but you'll see Gookjung. Don't expect everyone to be like a dancer, have the voice of an angel. Just be realistic. And one of the reasons I really feel like I want to say this, and this is why I saved it for #1, recently BTS was performing in Saudi Arabia and people noticed Jungkook's tattoos. So cool, he got tattoos. And now there's a scandal going around because his girlfriend owns a tattoo shop, or she works at a tattoo shop, and people have literally been sending her death threats. I fully understand being fans of people, and this, honestly, I've been debating doing a rant video about this, because liking people and being a fan of them is totally different from obsessing with them and thinking they're only meant for you, because you have to be realistic. Just because you're a fan of somebody doesn't mean you have to have blind devotion and think that they're only meant for you. Like, these people, they're gonna date in real life. They're gonna get married. They're gonna have kids. They're people. Like, don't expect them to be single because you have the hope of being with them one day. Like, that's so crazy. And especially, I'm recording this on the 15th, and those of you who know FX's Sully just died yesterday, and this just shows you, like, you guys need to be realistic and just like understanding that they're people and they don't need to be attacked online. Like, you're telling this girl to kill herself and you're giving her death threats. What if she actually does it? Then that's gonna be another person gone. Like, and think of how hurt he'd be. Like, I'll never understand why everything in Korea has to be a scandal. Why is dating a scandal? If you're both of age, then you're dating. Like, why is that a scandal? Let these people breathe, yo. I don't even know if this really constitutes a tip for dating in Korea. It's just, I would really hope that people would be realistic when they come here. Like, you're not gonna see these people walking around like K-pop idols. Some of them do look like K-pop idols and they're very attractive, but the majority of people here don't look like that. It's an unfair expectation to have, and I just kind of hope that when you get here you understand that everyone's not gonna be a dancer, they're not gonna be a singer or a rapper or look like a model. And the people who do the idols, let them breathe, let them be their people, let them be happy so they continue to make you happy with music. So yeah, that was just 7 tips for dating in Korea as a foreigner. I can't really think of anything else to add to this list now, but I'm sure the moment I turn this camera off, I'll be like, oh crap, I should have said this. So for now, that's it. Thanks for watching. If you did, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Annyeong.